Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be tackling two topics. The first topic we're going to be talking about will be the visit by Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to the U.S. He held a lot of meetings with a lot of politicians, diplomats and high-ranking officials, really prepping up for the upcoming presidency by President-elect Donald Trump and his administration. That'll be the first topic we're going to be discussing tonight. The second of which will be focusing also on the inauguration of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, actually inaugurating a lot of number of road and housing units, a lot of mega projects that are coming up next in the near future. But before we start our discussion, let's check out, let me first welcome our very distinguished guest, Ambassador Mohamed Ashmawy, member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's check out this report regarding the visit by Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to the US, and we'll be right back to talk about it.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi received a report from Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry about his recent visit to the United States, during which he met a number of senior U.S. officials and leaders of both Congress houses, as well as the new United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Presidential spokesman Ali Youssef said that the Foreign Minister said during his meeting with el-Sisi that Mike Pence, U.S. Vice President-elect Donald Trump's pick, expressed a great appreciation for Egypt, and el-Sisi stressing the intention of Trump to strengthen bilateral relations with Egypt and develop it to promote peace and stability in the Middle East. Shoukry displayed the results of his talks with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, which tackled various aspects of relations between the two countries, including Egypt's efforts in combating terrorism, and evaluated developments in the Middle East, especially with regard to the need to unite efforts against terrorist groups in the region. The two officials discussed the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and the situations in Syria, Libya, Yemen and Iraq. They also discussed Egypt's economic situation after the government applied reformatory measures in November. Shoukry referred to an MOU he signed with the U.S. Secretary of State to prevent the smuggling of antiquities and recover 4 artifacts that were smuggled into the United States. Shoukry met with a number of leaders of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, like the House Speaker Paul Ryan, who requested the transfer of a message of support to el-Sisi, stressing that he's keen to make his first foreign visit after taking office to Egypt to demonstrate the depth of the strategic relationship between the two countries. Shoukry further presented an overview regarding the security threats that Egypt is facing and the measures being implemented to combat terrorism in Sinai. The Egyptian Foreign Minister also discussed the democratic transition in Egypt and the role of non-governmental organizations in that regard and the legal framework within which these organizations operate. He also stressed on Egypt's support for civil society and the role it plays in Egypt's development programs. The top diplomat said that congressional leaders expressed during the meetings interest in the political and economic reforms carried out by Egypt, adding that most of the Congress committee's heads confirmed they are looking forward to further Egyptian-American convergence. During his meeting with Guterres, the two diplomats discussed Egypt's stance on different regional and international issues in light of its current membership in the UN Security Council. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ahmed Abu Zaid said that Shoukry expressed Egypt's confidence that the experienced official will lead the UN with complete independence and transparency. Guterres said he appreciated Egypt's support for his bid to run for international post and underscored the Arab country's importance internationally and prominent role in maintaining stability and security in the region. Shoukry discussed with Guterres various issues on the agenda of the United Nations, as well as developments in Libya, Iraq, Yemen and the Palestinian-Israeli peace process, emphasizing the importance of international organizations tackling issues in the Middle East with complete objectivity and independence. Shoukry's visit to the U.S. is the first from an Egyptian official following the election of Trump earlier in November. Many analysts expected the bilateral relations between Egypt and the U.S. to flourish under Trump administration. Sisi was reportedly the first foreign dignitary to congratulate Trump on his win in the U.S. presidential elections.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now starting off our discussion now, Ambassador Ashmawy, we've seen a lot of meetings and a lot of visits by the president to the U.S. We've also seen a lot of meetings before by the foreign minister to the U.S. But this seems to be one of the most comprehensive visits the foreign minister actually carried out, especially after the final verdict of the presidential elections, choosing President-elect Donald Trump to be the next American president. What is the significance of the timing of such a visit, and how important do you feel this was to dictating the future of the Egyptian-American relationship?
Well, the timing of the visit is very important, really, if we take into consideration both countries, Egypt and the United States. Concerning Egypt, of course, you know that we are facing too much problems in the Arab world. Now, how many countries now are failed states now? Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Libya, too much problems. Even Sudan also, there is problems. And all these things is affecting the national security of Egypt and the Arab national security. And Egypt is the main state in the Arab world. This is one thing. The other thing is also the United States itself. The coming of Mr. Trump as a new president for the United States is a revolutionary change. No one was expecting at all that Trump will be a president of the United States. So there is really, we are expecting too much change during his presidentship or presidential status or presidential time. So the timing of the visit is very, very important before coming to office of Mr. Trump. He will be coming on the 20th of January.
Yes.
So the timing of it is very, very important. Concerning, if we take into considerations the considerations in Egypt and the United States itself, and the whole world also, even Europe itself now, is they are feeling they are waiting for too much change to happen.
Yes.
That's why the timing of this is very important.
Yes. Well, Mr. Ambassador, the relationship between Egypt and the U.S. administration over the past few decades has been sort of stable, and everybody knows how it is, the dynamics of this relationship. But after the 2011 revolution, over the past 5 years, it was very much a roller coaster ride. It was ups and downs.
Yes.
What do you feel has been lost in this relationship during those past 5 years?
I think concerning the military relations and the strategic relations, there was no change at all. Egypt is very important for the United States, and the Egyptian, the relations of Egypt with the United States is very important for Egypt also itself. But of course, after the what happened in the Middle East and what happened in the Arab world, starting from 1911, so there was too much change.
2011.
Yeah, 11. There was too much change, and I think also during the presidentship of Mr. Obama, there was some problems, political problems, of course, because they were waiting for some political changes in the Middle East, in the countries here in the Middle East, in Syria, in Egypt, and it didn't happen what they want exactly. That's why they were not in good relations, both sides. That's why now, with Mr. Trump coming up, he is putting the problem of terrorism as a number one for in his presidentship. That's why it's very important to restore the relations, the real relations between Egypt and the United States.
Yes. Yeah. Well, do you feel that with President-elect Donald Trump very, very much vocal about how he really wants to tackle the terrorism issue and the terrorism problem, not just around the world, but specifically as well in the Middle East, do you feel that we will really have a very different outlook on dealing with this problem under his presidency, or will it be a lot of high hopes and we don't know exactly if the U.S. administration will live up to these promises? Because we've had a lot of high hopes, as you mentioned, attached to Barack Obama, and it didn't really meet these hopes. Do you feel the same will happen with Donald Trump, or do you feel that, no, this is something that he will actually go through with?
I think there will be a real change. This is what I think personally, as a diplomat, and as a diplomat also, I'm very, very, keen in the, I'm very, very attached to diplomatic and to also academic life. So I can refer you also now to a very important article in Al-Ahram yesterday by Dr. Abdel Said. He wrote an article about Sisi doctrine. He wrote it yesterday. This is a very, very important article. It is he's trying to theorize the foreign policy of President Sisi concerning the relations with the United States and concerning the overall foreign policy of Egypt. And he said that Egypt is very, very keen to preserve the national integrity of each country. That's why he is against any anyone trying to talk about Islamic Khilafah or something like that. So he is against it. That's why we have to to be against terrorism and to use force, to use military force against it at the same time. And also at the same time, we have to change our point of view concerning the Islamic religion. We have to renew our understanding of Islam, and that we have to preserve the national integrity of each country. Syria as a country, that's why we must not let any country to make a division, and to make like Syria, to make a division according to religion or according to ethnicity.
Yes.
We are against it in our foreign policy. That's why the relations with Trump is very important, because he is putting anti-terrorism as #1 thing in his policy.
Yes. Well, if President-elect Trump has this very clear vision on how to deal with this issue, now the U.S. administration has been working in a certain direction over the past few years, and we've seen it practically in dealings with Syria, Libya, Iraq. So we've seen the direction they've been taking. Do you feel that it is so easy to switch this strategy 180 degrees right away, or do you think that for these institutions and this industry, it will take time to shift this policy and the dynamics and the approach of dealing with terrorism within the Middle East specifically?
Maybe it will take not too much long time, but I think if we take the relations of Mr. Trump with President Putin of the Russia, it is very important that both will try to do something in the Middle East. Are we, in the academic life, we put a question now. Are we going to have a new Sykes-Picot? Maybe. Maybe. Because now the United States and Russia are in very good relations, especially the two presidents, Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin. That's why I'm sure that there will be a change in the foreign policy of the United States in the area.
Yes. Well, the President Sisi and President-elect Donald Trump, they spoke highly of each other, and it seems that the relationship between them is very warm, and they're very supportive of each other's direction. Do you feel that, and it really revolves, or the cornerstone of this respect and this relationship lies in actually how to deal with the terrorism problem.
Yes.
Do you think that this will be the cornerstone which will launch a stronger relationship with the U.S. that will take another economic dimension and a much deeper as well political dimension?
I think there will be on both sides, economic and political direction, and also they are. Also there was a very important article by the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Fahmy, Nabil Fahmy, in Al-Ahram since about 2 weeks now. Was talking about that good relations between Egypt and the United States. Both countries are very keen in anti-terrorism policy, using force against it, military force, And I think a country like, I think, Emirates will be, from the economic point of view, will be there.
Yes.
Yes. So in both sides, political and economic side, there will be a change.
Yes. Well, you've mentioned earlier the good relationship between Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, this works perfectly well with our policy because we are on good terms as well with the Russian President Putin.
Yes.
But what about China? We are strengthening really the relationship between Egypt and China, and we have a lot of good positive prospects for the relationship with China. But Donald Trump doesn't seem so much in favor of not really working on the relationship with China, but it's still there seems to be a lot of conflicts of interest between both countries. How are we supposed to behave or be like in the middle of this conflict between the US and China?
I think there will be it will be a problem in foreign policy, but in international relations we had something like that before between the United States and the Soviet Union when it was the Soviet Union. So there was a bipolar system. Now there will be another bipolar system also, but maybe the United States and Russia in one side and China on the other side. But Egypt, I think we will have good relations with both sides, China and also Russia and the United States.
Yes. Well, you've also mentioned another country, Qatar. Qatar now has been...
No, I mentioned no Emirates, not Qatar.
Yeah, so, pardon me. Well, Qatar is also another country within the equation. Now, Qatar has been always a friend of the United States, and they have military bases there. And the relationship between Egypt and Qatar has been also a roller coaster ride, a lot of ups and downs. How do you feel now with the new approach of Donald Trump regarding fighting terrorism and really having a different policy within the Middle East? How do you think this will affect the relationship between Qatar and the US, and how will this reflect on Egypt as well?
Maybe there will be a change, I think, between Qatar and the United States, because Qatar and Turkey are, are financing, and they have their relations with some political groups, ethnic and religious groups in the area also, and it will make a problem, of course, between both sides. Yes, so there will be some problems.
And how are we supposed to react to these problems? Are we going to take a proactive role, or are we going to wait and see what happens and then react to it?
Of course, we have to wait and see and to react, because but if we have good relations with the United States, according to what we expect, so I think that will be in our favor and it will be in our interest also.
Yes.
But what I'm afraid of, in spite of all these things, all this analysis we talk about, is that some people are putting Trump as he will be in a very important, he will have a very important role in what we should say, what we call the struggle and the problems between Islamic thought and also the United States, between what I should say, what Samuel Huntington, he had a book about that thing, about the problems between what I should say, between the Islamic countries and the United States and the West, the overall West. There will be a change, because it will be a problem, but in the long run, but on the short run, I think facing the problem of terrorism is putting Egypt and the United States in a packet.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Your Excellency, now you've mentioned Donald Trump's attitude towards Islamic countries. Now, it has not been a secret, his rhetoric during campaigning about Islam and about Arabs and Muslim countries. And he also has a very active thought or idea of how to deal with the terrorism within the Middle East and the Arab countries. Do you think that they will contradict each other, or do you think that it's really what he's been doing during campaigning was basically rhetoric and campaign talk, and is not really going to follow through with any of these strong words?
I think on the long run there will be contradictions. I think on the long run, but on the short run, I think it will be. I mean, if we have the problem in Syria now, we have a problem in Libya now. If we try to put and to put in consideration the national integrity and of each country and to how to preserve it, and Egypt is very keen. Otherwise, we will be in the same problem like Syria, Iraq, and Libya. That's why we are against it for the Arab national security. So I think on the long run, maybe there will be problems. But anyway, he will be having, I mean, 1 term or 2 terms.
Yes.
But who knows what will happen?
Yes.
But the problem of what I should say, the problems of civilizations, clash of civilizations of Samuel Huntington. He talked about the clash of civilizations, and this book was translated to Arabic. This is in the market now. The problems between these countries on the long run. So I think this is on the long run, but on the short run, I think in our interest, we will have a good thing for the Arab national security.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Ambassador Ashmawy, now one final question because we're running out of time.
Yes.
Now, if we're talking about the U.S. administration, how it's dealing with terrorism and dealing with the problems within the Middle East region as a whole, now, one of the main players or main factors recently over the past few years has been Iran. Iran has been trying to establish a strong role to play within this region. Now, we've seen the relationship between both countries, the US and Iran, take a positive turn when they agreed upon the nuclear disarmament treaty with other Western allies.
Yes.
But a few weeks ago, the US administration actually extended its sanctions on Iran for the next 10 years.
Yes.
How do you feel the upcoming President Donald Trump will deal with Iran as a superpower and trying to really spread its influence and enforce its influence on the region in light of all these changes and his new term?
I think he will be against the Iran politics in the area, and he will be against that agreement between the West and Iran, and that was clear from the very beginning during his campaign. And also Iran is playing a role in Syria. So so I mean I think there will be a change in the relations, not the same thing like Obama time. So it will not be the same politics or the same policy of the United States concerning Iran. There will be problems during Trump time.
And will that be good news for Egypt, good news for the Gulf countries, bad news for other Arab countries? How do you see it?
Of course, it will make a change. I mean, but there is too much contradictions, and we have to wait and see also at the same time. But there is something very clear now that he is against terrorism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, definitely the relationship between Egypt and the US will take a new turn, a new chapter under the new President Donald Trump. Not just the relationship with Egypt, but also the American foreign policy will be full of developments and surprises over the coming period. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for this topic. But before we go to the next topic, I'd like to thank our very distinguished guest, Ambassador Mohamed Ashmawy, member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Your Excellency, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to head out for the next segment for tonight, the inauguration of a lot of housing projects and units by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. But before we do that, let's go to the short break and we'll be right back.
Be the first to know. The news live at the site of the event. Information on events as they are happening. If it's breaking news, it's Nile TV. For ads on Nile TV, Egyptian Radio and Television Union, the economic sector, info@nileinternational.net or call us on the following numbers.
دي كل واحد يشتغل بضمير.
كلنا نشتغل، احنا نغير نفسنا بس.
الناس تعامل ضميرها وتعامل مرضي الله.
الناس تبقى كويسه مع بعضيها.
هيبقوا كويسين الناس.
كلنا خير ومصر كلها خير.
هي الدنيا، الشعب المصري ده طيب.
لو كل واحد ابتدى بس بنفسه البلد هتتصلح.
كل واحد يعمل ربنا وضميره. الناس تبقى حلوه كده مع الناس.
لازم اخلاق الناس تبقى كويسه، نحب بعض،
الاحترام،
ضماير الناس،
الاخلاق بس.
ان شاء الله ينصلح حالنا بقى.
نتقبل آراء بعض. هي الديمقراطيه، هي الديمقراطيه.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now it's time for the second topic of tonight's show. We're going to be talking about President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurating today a number of road and housing units built in cooperation among a number of ministries, along with the Armed Forces Engineering Authority. And joining us here in the studio to shed more light on this issue is Dr. Salah Abdullah, the former Member of Parliament and political analyst. Dr. Abdullah, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Dr. Abdullah, first of all, this is another inauguration of another mega project, if we may call it. We've seen a lot of agricultural projects, a lot of housing projects, obviously the extension and the expansion of the Suez Canal. How are you evaluating these big projects, these new roads, these new houses, these new administrative capital, all of these things? How are you evaluating these movements? Are we going too much too fast with these projects? We're not going to be able to see them all finish up completely in time, or are we going on the right track?
Well, evaluation here will take two sides. Political evaluation and economic evaluation. If we go to a political evaluation, you send a message that in spite of terrorism, in spite of war around in the area around you, from Libya, from Syria, in Yemen, and so on, you are building. You are thinking about the future. You are creating new life. You like the future. You like the life. You are interested in the life. This is a very important message. Because the worst message is that this area is a troublemaker area.
Yes.
Most of the people are living, or this is what is going on in the West, that there is terrorism, there is violence, there is non-security, unsafety. Okay. This is bad image. You give the clean image, the white image, the bright image, that I am building, I am doing roads, I am building houses, I am cultivating lands, I am making a project to attract the investors to come and make project in the area. So this is a very important political message. And in fact, I observe this attitude since the President Sisi start his presidential period, that he usually concentrating on this kind of message. He starts Suez Canal when all the area was, even here in Egypt, there was troubles and so on, but he started the project. He want to say, let us live, let us look to the future. Forget about that. This is all is a side ways, and it will be finished. Okay? This, from my opinion, a very important political message. If we look to the economic message, number one, if you want to attract the investors, attract the capitals from the world, attract people from outside to have a project in your area, you need 4 principles. The land where the project will be done. The power, because there is no project without power. The water. The road, because you need free road. So exporting and importing and supplies will be very active and free. And this is what the policy of President Sisi is doing. If we look for today at this example, we open channels of roads, Many of these roads are taking some of the closed states directly to the sea. Okay? This will help the investors to go to these areas, and you have your own external way to the sea. Okay? Like Safaga, Qena, and the others. Also, you are making a lot of roads easy to go to the Suez Canal area. This is the main area where the future projects will be in this area. So you are extending the roads, you are making the things very easy. You have the land, you have the roads, at the same time you have major project in the matter of electricity, 3 stations, major stations with Siemens company and others. Water, you are working on changing the seawater to drinking water, you know, and like the one which has been done in Matruh. So you are working on the 4 major items. If we are running too much, and whether we will see the result of this or not, we have to have balance. And as I think President Sisi said today, that fighting of the terrorism, also with the security measures, you need a project, you need to find chance of work, you need to decrease employment, you need improve development. So this project is going in the side of the development. Because if we look, let us say, the new capital, look to how many hands are working there. If you look to the building, the houses which is we see today on the TV, how many hands are working there. The roads and so on, the cultivating land. So you create jobs, you create a future. This is the way of how you can fight the terrorism. The results would be there is short term and there is long term. Of course, the major channels of roads, this is a long term because it will appear after the investment and project start in the Suez Canal and starting the production and so on, and there will be income to the country. This will take many years. Many years, of course. Like the duplication of the Suez Canal, let us say. When our grandfathers was digging the Suez Canal, they didn't take anything of the benefits. We gave the benefits. Suez Canal now is bringing about $5 million, okay, or $5 billion. This is for us. But for them, they didn't have anything. Of course, there is some projects will appear after a while. But in the same time, some project will appear directly, like cultivation. Every faddan, every part of land you cultivate, you produce more food. You give a chance for more workers. So this is what we call it a short period project. Every house you build, you give a chance to a citizen to live.
Yes.
So he changed the life of some of the families. So this is what we call a short-term project.
Well, Dr. Abdullah, as you've mentioned, such projects have political dimension and an economic dimension.
Yes.
Now, if we focus on the political one, you said such projects show that Egypt wants to look to the future. They believe in development, they believe in life, they believe in planning and working for a better future for the citizens and their children and their grandchildren. And at the same time, this is seen by the entire world, the international community. Now, on the other hand, there are messages, and we've seen the terrorist attacks that take place, which really gives a wrong, negative message to the international community. So they are trying to reply to each other. What do you think the international community sees more? What has much more of an impact? The negative messages or these positive messages that we see day in, day out by the presidency?
I will tell you something. You know, I visited most of the world. In fact, Egypt have a good respect in at least 90% of the countries in the world, for many, many reasons. The history, the situation of Egypt. The political trend in Egypt is usually middle. We are not extreme. We wasn't extreme in any time. This gives a very good impression about Egypt. Okay, this is number one. Number two, the people in the West and the East respect the hard worker. They didn't respect the lazy, and they didn't respect the money. They can take your money, but from inside they will not respect you.
Yes.
They are respecting the worker, the hard worker. Of course, all what you are doing is give you respect in the world, and they are all looking for what you are doing, and they admire what you are doing. I have some friends from Africa. They came with me, and we was going traveling to, I think, to Ismailia, and they was seeing the work and cultivation. They said, "This is wonderful. You are cultivating the desert. You know, this gives a very good impression."
Yes.
But the terrorist activity and some of the attacks which happen and so on, this will have two significance. The first one, that those who are making these attacks, they didn't want you to be in progress. They want to bring you back, whether because they are blind or because they are brainwashed, or because they are working with some people who are hating Egypt, and they didn't want the Egypt to return back very strong. Of course, in the world, who look for this area is just a limited number of countries, and for their own reasons. Those who doesn't want Egypt to be in progress, of course, they are concentrating on the bad image.
Yes.
Those who are having competition with you for, as in tourist, let us say, tourist activity, you have competition with many countries. Of course, they are increasing the look for the bad image, for the terrorist image, because this will give them financial benefits.
Yes.
Okay? But the number of these countries, I can tell you, it doesn't be more than 3 or 4% in the whole world.
Yes.
But the majority are admiring the hard worker. The majority are admiring people who like to work for the future, who feel that life is interesting. You can do a lot to have a good life for you and for your people and for your children and so on.
Yes.
So, but this bad image, I can tell you and can assure you, is very limited. And you can find it in one newspaper in one country, but it is not the policy of the country.
Yes.
You know, it's very easy now. You can go to one country and you can pay, okay, for a center, for a newspaper, and this is very easy in all the world. and you come, this is a British paper saying so and so. This is not the British situation. This is just a British paper. Like here in Egypt, you can go to one magazine and so on, you find one journalist and he write what you like, okay? This is not the situation of the country. Sometimes we are looking for things and we give it more importance, okay? But it is limited. It is limited. People in the world, and I assure that for you, are respecting the hard worker.
Yes.
And we are now working very hard.
Yes, definitely.
And progressing. And this is very good.
Dr. Abdullah, you've mentioned the political dimension and also the economic one. Now, if we look at the economic one, the Egyptian economy is suffering a lot of ups and downs as well. Recently, much more downs than ups. A lot of subsidies have been lifted, taxes were increased, prices went up, but at the same time we're getting a loan from the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. We're getting financial support as well from many different countries, but we're also embarking on new projects. Now, as you've mentioned, these projects, they make people work, they give jobs, they give security, it's development in the right area, but it also needs money to progress. Now, with all this money that we are receiving and we are in dire need for, do you feel that it's going, the majority of it is going, the big chunk of it is going to these mega projects? Are we embarking on projects that maybe we will have a difficulty financing it on the long run? Because some of these projects, as you've mentioned, we will see the benefits in the short term, and some benefits we'll see on the long run. Are we biting more than we can chew right now?
No. No. The financial changes or economic changes in Egypt by the Egyptian pound became very lower for the dollar and so on. This happened in many countries before, like Argentina and like Brazil and so on. It took a time and it had been recorrected again, okay, by development. The loans you take, you didn't take it for these projects. You take it to return your financial situation to the correct way, not for this project. You are concentrating in this project by sharing with other countries and other investors. And I want to tell you something, you have to know, that the area of the Suez Canal is very important to the whole world. Okay, and when one country will start making project there, you will find how many countries will come to do. They are waiting just for you to make the tunnels of the canals. You know, you are still working on the construction. They are waiting for that. But this would be finished. This have to be happened since 15 years. Okay, we are delayed 15 years for that. If we do it from 15 years, we will not have problems now. They are waiting to complete the construction. But believe me, I will tell you, and you will see in the future, how the countries will be in competition to make projects in these areas. So you don't need money for that. You need money for the construction. Okay, the tunnels, the roads, so, and this will not take all the loans we have and all these. But these loans will not be given to you if your economy is in danger. Don't think that the International Bank or the other banks who give money, just give it like that. They give it after studying the country and the standard of economy and whether promising or not. Egypt is a promising country in the matter of investment and the future. This project also have a very important thing, plus the economy, the psychological factor for the people. When the people see that there is work, this gives them feeling that the future is better. So they have to tolerate or accept the bitterness of the changes which happen now. Okay, but if they didn't feel that they are hardworking and to go out from the current situation, this will be reflected badly on them. So this is very important, that not political and economical, but also psychological to the people, to feel that the future is promising to them, that all what is been done, land or roads or preparing for major projects and so on, so on, so on, give the hope that soon you'll be changes for the better taste of life. Yes. I don't think that the current situation will continue for a long time. I think things will be re-stabilized again, and I think the Egyptian pound will be re-corrected again. In my opinion, around at the end of 1917, will be the re-changing again in the price of currency after the major gas field starting to work, and many changes will happen.
Yes. Dr. Abdullah, I have a question. It's a two-part, made of two parts now. The first of which, as you mentioned, we're working a lot of, there are so many projects that are being done by the government and from within Egypt, but also there is a big room for a lot of foreign investors to come and invest in Egypt. And we've seen a lot of efforts done by the government and the presidency with economic conferences attracting investors, going to China, going to a lot of countries in Asia and in Europe, trying to attract the foreign investor. But there was always this problem of the investment law, and which really scares off a lot of the foreign investors coming to Egypt. Now, yourself being a former member of the parliament, you know the ins and outs of it. Why is such a law difficult to fix and solve and make it very much accessible and attractive for the foreign investor to come and invest in Egypt?
Well, we have been delayed in that long time. Okay, one of it is the bureaucratic way of our administration. Secondly, you know, there was a time of Egypt that the investors have to pay for to make any project, and we hope that with the new law this will be finished. Okay, we are now fighting the corruption. You know, there is hard measures against corruption, and I hope it will continue and to be more harder, because the most dangerous situation for the investors and the investment is the corruption, especially the administrative corruption. I heard that the parliament will start asking the ministry to bring the law to the parliament, and we hope the ministry will work on that very rapidly, because, you know, we have to work very hard. The same like we are doing the roads and building, and so we have to work very hard in changing our laws to the best.
Yes.
So I hope that within one month or two this law can be done and passed from the parliament, and it will carry, you know, better situation, because we don't want the person who come to have a project in Egypt to suffer. We want him to come easily and to work and to find the situation very well for him, and to destroy those bureaucratic ways and corruption.
Yes.
Because this is a very dangerous situation. When you want to pay here and here and here, the easy is to run away. You know, we don't want that. We have the land, we have everything, we have the power, we have the benefits, we have a president who are supporting new projects and so on and so on. So we have to work. I hope the parliament will work very rapidly on that, so we can give a push to the investment in it.
Yes. Dr. Abdullah, one final question, because we're running out of time now. As you've mentioned, these mega projects like the one we are witnessing today gives a lot of hope, gives the right messages, shows that we are on the right path of development. All Egyptians are happy with that, and we'll definitely be seeing the fruit of it, whether on the long term or short term. But Egyptians have been really focused on two sectors, and they've been dying for a lot of reform and a lot of developments taking place there, mainly the educational sector and the health sector. Now, we are witnessing a lot of developments and projects in the fields of energy, in the fields of infrastructure, many things, but we're still not really seeing any concrete measures taken to develop the health sector and the educational sector. Why is that, and is it because it's harder to achieve any real development in these sectors? Is it much more expensive? Does it take longer time? When are we going to see developments within education and health?
Well, because we didn't discuss these two items, education and the health, in the correct way. We are still talking about we want better education. Okay, better education needs finance. We didn't discuss how to finance. Okay, of course we have the study in our university and schools are free, but we can find a way. I suggest one day, that we can making a new system of repaying by meaning that you go to the university, learn free, but after you become graduated, you pay back the fee of your education on 20 to 30 years. So by this way, the graduates will spend money on the universities, and then we cut short what we don't need anything from the government or from the ministry. This is a way. And in the same time, you can keep free education to keep the people equal. Not to say that this you have money to learn, this you don't have money. No, all you will learn, but you will repay.
What about the health?
The health. The insurance, health insurance, general health insurance will solve the problem. But still, up till now, since years we are talking about it, we didn't have major steps. We need to have major steps on the health insurance. And this will need a long discussion. I am ready to discuss it with you in another time.
Definitely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the inauguration of these road and housing projects is definitely, as my distinguished guests have mentioned, definitely a step forward full of hope and development, not just for the Egyptians, but also a message to the entire world. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank our very distinguished guest, Dr. Salah Abdullah, the former member of the Parliament and the political analyst. Dr. Abdullah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.